History of the Philippines. Early history, at least 30,000 years ago, migrants from the Indonesian archipelago and elsewhere colonized the Philippines. Next millennia saw more migrations. Social and political organization evolved in the scattered islands. The barangay, Malay for boat, was the basic unit of habitation. A datu, chief, led kinship groups, and the barangay was divided between aristocrats, freemen, dependent and landless agricultural laborers, and slaves. Chinese traders joined Indo-Malay migrants over centuries. Indonesian traders and proselytizers brought Islam to the Philippines in the early period. By 1500, Islam had expanded from the Sulu archipelago to Mindanao and Manila by 1565. Spanish colonists introduced Christianity with Islam. Spanish control. Magellan was the first European to reach the Philippines. He landed in March 1521 after circumnavigating the world. A leader assassinated him when he claimed land for the Spanish king. The first permanent settlement in Cebu was founded in 1565 after many Spanish missions. In 1571, the Spanish founded Manila after defeating a Muslim monarch and naming it after King Philip II. The Spanish wanted to secure a piece of the lucrative spice trade, improve relations with China and Japan, and convert people to Christianity. Only the third goal was achieved. In other Spanish colonies, church and state were inseparable in achieving Spanish goals. Christianizing the locals was the responsibility of several Roman Catholic orders. Trade in the Philippines. Trade in the Philippines revolved around the Manila galleons, which sailed from Acapulco on the west coast of Mexico, New Spain, with silver bullion and minted coin to barter for Chinese silk textiles and porcelain. There was limited indigenous resource extraction and no direct trade with Spain. Most investment went into galleons. But as this trade grew, Chinese businesses and service providers arrived, causing more problems. 7 Years' War. Manila was taken by British East India Company forces during the 7 Years' War. Though the Philippines were returned to Spain after the war, the British presence began the demise of the old order. Moros raided from the south as the Spanish fought the British during northern rebellions. Chinese laborers and armed men supported the British, resenting Spanish injustice. The restoration of Spanish control brought economic reforms to the islands to make them independent of New Spain. Rise of nationalism. In the late 19th century, Chinese immigration grew with official support, and Chinese mestizos became part of Filipino society and economy. So did the emerging Filipino native elite class of ilustrados, literally, enlightened ones, who became more liberal and democratic. Conservative Catholic friars still ruled Spain. With their huge land holdings and ownership of churches, schools, and other enterprises, they were monetarily secure and opposed native clergy. Some Filipino religious orders led local religious movements and even insurrections against the establishment despite bias towards native priests, brothers, and nuns. Ilustrados returning from school and exile abroad combined folk religion with new ideologies to spark national rebellion. The Spanish-American War. The Spanish-American War began in April 1898, and Spain's fleet was defeated at Manila. After Aguinaldo returned, his 12,000 troops held off the Spanish in Manila until U.S. troops arrived. The Spanish were doomed, but the Americans refused to include Aguinaldo in the succession. American and Filipino troops fought almost immediately after the Spanish were beaten. Aguinaldo declared independence June 12, 1898. On December 10, 1898, the U.S. and Spain signed the Treaty of Paris, which awarded the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico to the U.S., acknowledged Cuban independence, and gave Spain $20 million. A revolutionary Congress in Malolos, north of Manila, issued a constitution on January 21, 1899, and inaugurated Aguinaldo as president 2 days later. Conflict began in February 1899 and ended in March 1901 when Aguinaldo was captured and his army vanquished. Aguinaldo urged his people to surrender, but insurgency continued until 1903.